Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. What's up, everybody? Let's do this. How you doing, Alex? How you doing, insiders?
I'm sure the insiders are doing better than me. Like I was just telling, I'll tell the insiders. I was just telling Jeff, today's been a busy day. I don't want to say bad or hectic. That's not the case, but I drove 100 miles an hour to get back here. That's not an exaggeration, to do this show. But in the Chicagoland area, you can kind of get away with that because there's like 4 or 5 lanes sometimes, and
right,
you just pick one and go. It's not always the left. You want to go that fast, you just find whatever lane is there. But yeah, well, we're here. I'm having a good time now.
Yes,
we're exciting. I'm in my happy place.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, I did fist kicks and flicks last night, so that was a lot of fun. And
dude, that's like one of my favorite movies as a kid. And you know what? Too, it was my favorite one of the trilogy.
Same here. We all share that. Yeah, we did Ninja Turtles 2 last night, so that was a lot of fun. And I had a lot of fun as well. And Joe just kind of mentioned something. I think we talked about it before the show because it was like his birthday over the weekend. It was his 40th birthday, Joe Hartley, and he was just saying happy birthday, man. And how, like this is one of, because he works so much that this is doing the podcast is one of like the most fun things that he looks forward to every week. And I have to agree too. Like it's fun, we get to share with each other and our insiders just what we love to do, right? And what we, especially you and I, will remember everything about, and we wouldn't remember it if we didn't love it, right? So
right.
So yeah, so this is a fun thing, and we are on episode 91. Travis just reminded me we are exactly 10 episodes always behind CTE. So we're getting close to that 100. So
I know
it's kind of crazy, man.
We should have a celebration. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Who knows what we'll do?
Who knows?
But let's not forget, we are sponsored by the Virtual Fight Tour. Virtual Fight Tour 8 is kicking off May 29th, and it has a lot of, you got to go see these types of people. I'm really excited about the Brandon-Brian matchup.
Yes,
Brandon's been hot. Brian looks like he just won a few local overall, so he's ready to go.
Yeah, and when we say... And Alex, when we say local overall, is like we're talking about Florida, all right?
So it's like semi-national.
Yeah, really I mean, Florida has a lot of top competitors, man, and so they've done a great job of cultivating the talent in their sport. So big ups to them.
And you know what's kind of interesting? I was thinking, since you mentioned it, like we're kind of in that area right now. We're like Florida specifically, just because they have more events than others. I know Georgia's open too, but Florida's kind of be that area. And I know I've talked to my people about that. I talk all the time, like, hey, what are you thinking about? What's your next event? How are we going to do this? Well, are you doing an event this month?
Right.
And they're like, gee, I don't know. I'm waiting for something to open up. And I'm like, don't wait. Like, just pretty much book plane tickets to Florida and just get there.
Right.
Because that's where there's going to be a tournament. There's the Ozark Mountain Nationals, and there's other ones as well.
Missouri, like Arkansas.
We're literally in that state where it's like, find a tournament and get there. And you know what I started thinking about, Jeff? I started thinking about, now obviously I wasn't in martial arts or alive, but I was starting to think about what it was like when people would tell me what it was like in like the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
People would they would hear of, like Long Beach International, obviously that was a tournament everybody heard about.
Right.
Whatever tournament was happening, you just got in the car and you just drove and you went there. So many times those guys would tell me about, hey, we had to go to the Battle of Atlanta, because obviously the Battle of Atlanta was like that,
Yeah.
You just got in the car and you drove there, and you slept in the car, and you did whatever you could just so that you could fight at the Battle of Atlanta or whatever tournament that may be.
Right.
And because we love martial arts, so we want to do martial arts.
Yep.
If you're a basketball player, guess what you want to do? Play a freaking basketball game.
That's right.
All right. This is our game. That's our competition.
So get on the road and do it. So yeah, Texas has tournament every weekend as well. Florida has tournament every weekend. So those are places where it's coming. We're coming up on a point where we're going to have 2 or 3 tournaments in Virginia back to back. So I'm excited. getting our people ready for that.
When does that happen?
In June and July, there's going to be 3 around then. So, and then I think at the end of the year, well, like August is when like North Carolina and some of those other ones open up. There's one in South Carolina in a couple of weeks too. So trying to decide, where all we're going. So it's going to be cool. Let's go ahead and get into our competitors of the week since we're talking about VFT. I'm going to start since one of mine is competing in the VFT, and just to kind of give you a little bit more background about her and how long I've known her. So Alexa Fleshman is my competitor of the week, and she is fighting VFT against Peyton Fender, who is from Florida. Alexa Fleshman is from Virginia. She is from the Lynchburg area, which is where I live, and she is under the same system as I am in the American Freestyle Karate Association of originally where I was from. So under Lawrence Arthur, her instructor was Clifton Abercrombie and Deval Davis at Super Kicks Karate in Lynchburg. And then she started training with Sean Elliott and Gina Thornton, and, primarily does her training with them now for fighting. So she's been an all-around competitor, all-around martial artist, does a little bit of everything, but fighting has been her thing, And so she took probably a year or two off. She started getting a lot of credibility on the NBL circuit, the NASCA circuit as a junior. She got picked up on Team Revolution. So she is on that team. And I just remember how she kind of went from not really being known to just being someone who she was driven to be the best, and she went from being a very strong fighter to now being a very smart fighter. And I'm excited to see where she's growing and continuing, and that's something that,
that's right, Jim.
Yeah, Jim, go Alexa. So that's something that Sean and Gina have really helped her with, of just, being in shape, being focused. So I'm excited to see that. At Super Grands 2016, she had won her division, and then I think she won the first round of the overalls. And then I was actually coaching Zoe Brown, and so I was coaching against her. And I just remember how, Zoe at that time was, she's a lot smaller, but she was one of the smarter fighters at that time, and was really consistent, winning NASCA and NBL. And I think at that point she was undefeated in point sparring that year. And so, but Alexa was winning the whole match until Zoe kind of came back. And so from that time, Alexa just kept elevating. And so I'm excited to see her fight as an adult, and excited to see this fight with Peyton, because Peyton, they're both around the same age, and they're both going to give a great exhibition of what we can see for the future of the women's division. So,
right, yeah, that seems like that's going to be really exciting, and specifically for that last point. Like, all right, what's the future going to hold? We've seen a lot of that with some of the guys. Like we've seen that with like Justice. We saw that with Darren Payne, Prolata, Angel. Yeah. So there's a lot of that. Let's see what it's going to be like on the women's end of that too. So that's really exciting.
Yes.
And she's in a good group with Connell Lovelace's Team Revolution. He's picking up, people kind of like exactly what you said. Who just decided they really want to take control of this thing. So that's good. So big ups to Alexa.
Definitely.
My competitor of the week, my real one of the week. Told you, real one. That's who my competitors are going to be, real ones.
All right.
Claire Cocozza. All right, Claire Cocozza is also kind of like at this point, like she's the last 20 years, you've known Claire Cocozza because she's that dominant of a fighter. Now, when I first saw Claire, she was on Team CJB. That's when I first saw Claire. Okay. It's CJB or Elite. One of the
Elite, yeah, probably so.
Yeah, probably Elite. All right. And then I think she was on the team with Nikki Carlson Lee.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, like, this is like not fair, right? Like, because like there were so many things about Claire that you would look at and say, you're very similar to Nikki. Obviously, in the way that they would kick and the fact that they're both very dominant.
Yep.
Now, to that point, I really felt like Nikki was the greatest female fighter I've ever seen. Right? A lot of people would say Linda Denley was like that. I just think the things that I saw Nikki do, I'd never seen. Like, I don't think anybody would have beaten her.
No.
Now, and then here comes Claire, and she got a diamond ring pretty early. She got one in 2005, so she got one after the first few years. She had really been competing, and so now, and at that point, 2005, we're talking. There's not really many other awards that are higher than that.
Right.
So now you're like, dang, what the heck's, in stage for Claire Cocozza? Well, here's why Claire Cocozza was one of my real one of the week, because we just had Mother's Day.
Yep.
Claire Cocozza is a mother of 4 boys.
Yes.
All right. So her and David Bassinet are holding that down. I can't believe 4. Get the heck out of here. My life is nuts with 2. And I have to keep reminding myself, there's another one who's
coming, man.
It's going to be so much neater. I don't know how life is possible. Obviously, it's going to exist. It's going to happen, whatever. I may be asleep one time when we do the podcast. Who knows? But 4. And still fought after that.
Yeah.
So not just the mother of 1 or 2, 3, 4, and then still competing at a high level after that. So some of the teams that she competed on, Team Elite, Team CJB, she even jumped on a full circle thing after a while.
She was on Straight
Up. Did you say Straight Up?
Yeah, she was on Straight Up.
She was on Straight Up, and then eventually later on in her career, she did the All Stars.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
I thought there was one more, but yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Right. Probably a few more.
I think at one point she might have wore when it was Wasaru or something as well, but yeah.
That
could have happened. I don't know. Yeah.
That seems likely. It was that was in between the CJB 1 and the CJB 2 days. Right. There was this Wasaru thing right in the middle. That thing happened? Yeah, that thing happened.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she's amazing competitor. And yeah, I mean, she has been someone who's won on every circuit. I mean, multiple time WKA champion, WKC, WACO stuff, competing overseas, just amazing competitor. One of the favorites, one of my favorite teammates. So yeah, Claire Cocozza, real one.
Kyle's making fun of me because I didn't have my blue light glasses on. Yeah. I didn't stare at the screens too much today. But you know what I'll do?
You're just driving.
I'll do one for you. Where are those?
You're gonna put them on. You're gonna put them on.
I got them right here. I didn't put them on because I wasn't staring at screens all day, but I'm gonna be doing it for the next.
There you go.
Months. I'll put them back on for you.
Now we made Kyle.
Better not. You can make fun of me, Kyle. All right, I know. I don't love it, but it saves my eyes at the end of the night. We'll see how it goes. All right. If I hate how I look, I'm taking them off.
You want to start first, or I'll go?
Go ahead.
All right. So last night we got into a discussion on the post show of kicks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that one. Fist, kicks, and flicks. There we go. All right. And surprisingly, most of that show was talking about sport karate, and it was kind of funny. I guess it's my fault because I was on there. But
good.
Kind of going into taking off a little bit of what they talked about in CTE about how people are getting students from Cobra Kai, or are you not?
Right.
And also what are some things that maybe how can sport karate help our students and help our schools grow? Just kind of that discussion, right?
Sure.
And so one of the things that I had even thought about was just locally, right? And I think it gets to our just the culture and the community. And I think one of the things is that we have to let people know of our accomplishments, and so some schools do that a lot. Every time they go to a tournament, they put it in the newspaper so people know what's going on, right? For me, though, it's I say we just had our local high school just won the volleyball state championships, right? So immediately the town has a parade, wants to have a parade for them, which is great, right? Last year or 2 years ago, the Little League team, made it to the state championships or something like that. They have a parade for them. They do that stuff. why don't we have the same thing? How do we get to the point? Why don't we have the same, especially for these schools that are in small towns, like mine, like the Floyds, like those, like make it a big deal for your town, that you're doing something big, because I know many of us have won world titles. We have won, our school has been ranked, at certain things, we've done big things. And probably more people watched it on YouTube or Facebook than, some of these other things. Right. So that's something that I think the schools have to do better at,
Exactly.
So, but it's also on where do you focus your time? Is that really where you want to focus so much? Or is it focus on reaching the people and letting them know, hey, our school's open. We want to grow, So
the answer is D,
both.
all of the above.
Yeah, it could be both. Yeah.
So, so that's interesting. So I remember there was a few years this happened. Okay. Being in Minnesota, the Diamond Nationals, a very big event. Okay. Whether you were a part of the school that ran that or not, it was there. So anyway, John Worley is a great promoter. He's great at what he does. So he called up KARE 11 News, which is one of the local big news outlets there. And he just told them, hey, this weekend, whatever weekend, we're going to have the biggest tournament in the country, biggest karate tournament in the country. You may want to send some people down. So he just told them.
Yeah.
So there was this camera crews walking around. And I'm like, and you see the signs on them, and I'm like, dude, look at who's here. So I'm like watching my brother's ring, and there's just this camera guy just kind of looking around aimlessly. They don't know what the heck
they don't know what to look at.
They don't know what they're looking at. They're seeing, they're seeing it for the very first time.
Right.
So I walk up to the guy and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? And he goes, honestly, I don't know. I'm just supposed to, get some, interviews and some sound clips and some, clips of, the tournament happening today. So now I'm like, oh, okay. Now I'm watching my brother's division. I got hours before I'm going to compete. So I go, hey, this guy over there, he's the number one competitor in the world. I'm lying, obviously. Yeah. Right. So I point to my brother and I'm like, so sure enough, after Adam's done fighting, I promise this is not exaggeration. God. The guy goes up to my brother and there's not even like an interview. It's just the guy with the camera. And he goes, hey, so what's it like, when you're in there fighting? My brother tried to say, it doesn't really matter how big you are when you're out there fighting. Really, it's just all in your head. As long as you can, stay focused, you can have a really good match. Right. Which is cliche with whatever sports event. What he actually said was, yeah, it doesn't matter. You be small in the brain. And Jeff, they aired this on TV.
Oh my God.
They aired that on TV. Kid you not. Right? And the reporter, the news anchor, like, what do you say after that? Now you got to go from one segment to the next. Kid you not. The news anchor just goes, brain. Well, back to you for the weather. I'm like, no way this happened. Funniest thing ever.
Oh man.
But so I think you're right on though.
Right.
How are newspapers if people read them, right?
Right.
I've
been in that several times, like our school has been when we come back from Super Grands or other tournaments and things. We've gotten that, but it doesn't directly affect, but it affects people knowing that we've done things that, outside of our small town, outside of our school, which I think is important. The other thing is it was always funny because even when I had my tournament, it was really hard for me to get the local media to come to mine. I pushed really hard. I have a national event, but in our area, they push, and I think every state has it. Like for us, we have what's called the Commonwealth Games, or it's kind of like they try to make it their own state games, but for amateur sports, kind of like the Olympics, right? Okay. And so every state has it, and the state games for a while have been in our town because Liberty University is very big and and they've gained a lot of publicity for having it there the past few years. And so like, oh, well, it's not the Commonwealth Games, it's not the state games, so we're not coming out. But the problem is the state games has 40 competitors at it, okay? So it's the worst tournament ever, and it gets the most media coverage of any event. So that's what really bothers me is that there's certain things with these titles, that don't really deserve that, And so, I mean, it's really funny to me. You're seeing, oh yeah, they increased this year from 40 competitors to 80 competitors, like that was the big, thing. And I'm like, well, that's great. That's a big increase, but
no, it's not.
How
just because it doubled doesn't mean.
Well, yeah, I know. It's not. No, it's not. But what I'm saying is like that's kind of the thing that sometimes these people that don't know about the sport, and so we really have to just, even if it's just sending information about it and why it's a big deal and what's going on. And I mean, even if it doesn't have to do with your school, educating them about what the sport is, and listen, they may not listen to it. They may not even read it at first or even call you back. But after a while, you keep sending stuff, they're going to eventually take notice, right? Or they're going to get annoyed and then respond to you. So either way.
So then does it matter?
What? If we get
media coverage? I think that's probably why we haven't really, so many groups haven't done it, because they think it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, why do I care?
Right.
What I mean?
Right. Because I think everyone has just decided that this is going to be what it is, and they're just looking at keeping what we have intact, not growing what we have.
Well, this is true.
And so
growing it in a different way, growing it through just.
Right. Everyone's comfortable with what it is right now. No one likes change. So, the people that are wanting change, when it does happen, they get frustrated about it too. So that's something that you gotta, we all have to help each other out on that. So, I mean, that's just part of it. It's kind of the same thing when I told you about the judges being in a different hotel, because I think that's just a part of the change. And so, but again, so those are just little things that we've talked about. I mean, there's so much to dig in on that topic, about how sport karate tournaments, how we can make them help our schools, how we can, work together on that, how we can grow it, but it has to be from the ground up. It's just
I have an idea.
All right, Alex, go.
And it's more of like, I got so many questions for you, Jeff.
Oh.
Because they're questions that I've thought about, but I'm like, of course Jeff is going to know. So I'm kind of one of those.
What if I don't?
Well, then the world is over. Right? I don't know what to tell you. All right. So I started thinking about this, and I think as a society, we just love records, knowing what the records are, knowing how to break them. Is this person going to break them?
Yeah.
And there's so many, and there could be, like in sport karate, a lot of like, maybe there's like unbreakable records. And I think what we need to, maybe you and I need to do it, I don't know, is really just start jotting down records. It would be exhausting. All right.
Oh yeah.
But just to think about, let's say, all right, here's an example. All right. When Carmichael was talking about how it would have been his third triple crown in a row, if he would have won that Forms Championship at the Diamonds in '94, and he said, I don't think anybody had ever won 3 in a row.
They have,
right? Which now there is no triple crown, so that in itself
is a record.
That should really come back.
I
don't know what the reason behind it was.
They've talked about it. They've talked about having it, but I've never seen them present it to anybody or make it a big deal. So that's the thing. They were saying, we got their triple crown because it's supposed to be their new triple crown was competes, U.S. Open and Diamonds, right? That was supposed to be the new triple crown. That was like 6 or 7 years ago. But I never saw them really award it to anybody. I mean, maybe no one really got it, Maybe they got it in their division or something like that. Or I think that I saw some maybe like junior fighters won it because, they were doing overall grands for that, but they weren't. So I don't know. They haven't really made it a huge deal. It's not listed anywhere. It's not.
It's got to be something you do at the Diamonds.
Well, yeah.
It's the last one.
Right.
Right. And that was kind of the thing when we watched it happen, you would get the award at the Diamonds and you knew who was in the running for it.
Terry Kramer got his. Yeah. Terry Kramer would get his that year as well, or the year before, right. Around when that was going on. But yeah, David Oakley did it 3 times though. David Oakley won the Triple Crown 3 times as a junior.
Right, well,
yeah.
It's kind of like in horse racing. Who has the opportunity to win the Triple Crown? Did you win the Kentucky Derby? And what are the 3? Like Belmont
and Preakness.
Right?
Yeah.
So you either won that. All right. So if you win that and the Belmont, then you're like, all right now.
Right.
Now we know what to look for. And then that's what people talk about. People talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Arlene, yeah. I mean, that's one. Arlene said that, Linda won like 500 fights in a row before Arlene beat her. Yeah.
Right. Now that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
That's going to be like, how do you track that? Because I think it has to be like an entity that starts tracking this stuff. Because if you leave it up to other people, like, here, tell me your stats.
Right. And that was one thing that kept the NBL still being something that was talked about, because they were the only league that actually kept the stats,
Good.
And they had, when you got the brochure, you saw everyone that won, and I wish the magazine would still be around at those later years, because they would have shown, all right, these are the people at the most ones ever, and like, I mean, Sage and Colby, like, I don't know if anyone would ever catch up to them, because they eventually got the most, the most titles ever, and you're talking about who was second. This is what the most craziest stat is. The person with the second most or third most world titles, Regina Thompson. So we're talking about someone that just did fighting, right?
See, this is why the sport karate world needs you, Jeff. So how do you know that?
Because I mean, that's all
I know how you know that. You know that because you love it, and you were there, and you're always around it. I get it.
Yeah. So I mean, there's things like that, and then the overall grands record and all that stuff, So there's all kinds of things like that are just cool. I feel like Diamonds is one of the only ones that really keeps track of that, and we still haven't gotten it updated now, on who won the last one. So those are things that we as sport karate promoters, leagues, everything, we got to do better at keeping track, and not just putting it, because this is what bothers me more than anything is, we live streamed it, right? Okay, so you want me to go back and watch everyone and go back and do this, and sometimes it's really hard to find, just to figure out who won. I may do it sometimes, but I'm not going to just to find the results, right? So the results should be posted all the time and not just a one-time thing on Facebook. It should be on your website that's solid, right?
Right.
So, I mean, there's things like that we got to do better at, and just have people that do it, So, yes, it was for overall grands winners, Drew. The Triple Crown was.
Yep.
So, like, at that time,
winners,
they were having senior grands was a thing, senior fighting grands, and Terry won, I think, all 3 of those. I don't remember if it was 92, 93. I think it was 93, but yeah.
So I started thinking, what are some near unbreakable records in sport karate? So I think you kind of mentioned it with the Northcuts.
The Northcuts, and the thing is, I don't even know the exact number now. Like it was
that ridiculous.
But the last time that they won, like Sage broke the record for most titles in one season with 8. He won 8 world titles at a Super Grands. The one before that was 7. And So I mean, they've kind of done it.
So how about? So I would think like, all right, Raymond's 10 Irish Open wins.
Yep, that's one that is going to be really tough for anyone to do.
Yeah, I think maybe I don't know. See,
the Triple Crown. I mean, really, David Oakley still had one that was just. I mean, the person to do it was Carmichael.
But then I think if you go back and you start going, all right, would Matt Emick have broke it? Maybe if you go back and you start tracking it,
right? Because it wasn't tracked. Maybe he might have got it, but was never awarded it. Right?
That's right.
Right, or Kalman. Kalman probably did.
Probably. Jackson Rudolph.
So,
yeah,
Jackson probably has.
Presley.
Yep. Well, and now see, Mike says a good one. So, okay, so what would be the new Triple Crown or Grand Slam now? So, like, again, the thing is tough because are we talking just as a NASCAR one or we're talking sport karate in general? Because I think that's different, and I think that was where the Open Tour thing was kind of cool, was trying to do something like that, right, to win those big tournaments.
So I think it can be two. What it can be is there can be the NASCAR one, which I think if it's going to be the NASCAR one, you should go back to the original three of the U.S. Open, the Battle, and the Diamonds. All right? I know AKA Grand's a little bit bigger now.
I think AKA has kind of pushed themselves up.
I know that. But I would be okay with that.
So, I mean, I think if you're going to do a NASCAR Grand Slam, it would be those four. To me, those are the four most important tournaments. And then the fifth most important one to me is Quebec, and then the sixth most important is DC. But that's just me.
You don't want to start adding too many.
Right. No, I know. I'm just saying, like, I think there should be tiers. Like, if you win this, it's like, this is getting you up to that point. You know what I mean? Like,
word.
And it's up to us to tell that story. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, yeah, Jackson. 9 cups, 9 Warrior Cups.
9 Warrior Cups, or how many rings did Nikki win in a row?
In a row, I don't remember.
See, Chelsea won 5 in a row.
Yeah, I don't think that Nikki has the most in a row. I thought Caitlin maybe did.
Probably.
But the most, yeah. So yeah, I mean, those are tough, man. The Diamonds ones are big. There's some, the thing is, like, I know Jackson knows the US Open ones, because he's won them and he has some of the records, but they're still not posted anywhere. You know what I mean? And I don't know them that well. I mean, I know them pretty well. I mean, I remember when, Infinity, broke that record, of the
amount of team demo wins. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and that's the thing, is unless people talk about them like this,
right,
those records are lost.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they don't exist.
Right.
And I mean, I kind of feel like what would be a cool record to see? Like, here's one that probably would be cool to watch, but you'd be like, maybe this isn't good for tournaments. It would be like most knockouts in a year.
Yeah, no, it's not good for tournaments. No,
not good for tournaments.
No, maybe
good for outsiders to just kind of watch, as long as we don't have anybody we know fighting in there.
What about one like most 3-point spin kicks? Right, maybe that.
Right,
that would be kind of a fun one. Like that's kind of like the dunking, thing. Like, oh, he has the most dunks of this,
exactly.
Or the most whatever, or most 10-point spread or 7-point spreads. That's kind of a cool record to have, that kind of thing. Like, I mean, NBL even had his winning who won the most in a row or the most for one division, right? And so for me, I was always looking, okay, I want to get the most for a certain division, and then I eventually did that for like 2 division, like I won 5 Korean world titles, which was the most ever. That type of thing was something that it strive you to be like, hey, I want to be the best of this, and I think that's awesome, So, yeah, Jackson just saying, yeah, you wish there was some official documentation, because again, it's just more like off the top of your head,
We should get that. We should get a hold of that.
Yeah.
Or we should just start tracking stuff at least from now. I mean, we can track it from now.
So, I mean, I have almost all of the sport karate magazines. I have almost all of the sport karate news magazines. I have almost all of the NASCA yearbooks. I don't even know if they still do those anymore. But
anything
I had all of them from like 89 till, 2003 or 2004 or something like that. So, and I mean, literally on the way to tournaments, that's what I would do. I was read and I would remember who won which division and everything else. So that's just, sport.
But even then, then you kind of look at those like, all right, whoever won that division the year prior, whoever was that world champion, you kind of looked at that person like, oh yeah, you're that guy. You're that guy. And then midway through the year, it's like, it's a different guy.
Right.
It's going to be both of these guys.
Right.
And it just made it bigger. It gave it something for you to talk about at the karate school. All right?
Especially when there was 2 leagues too.
Right.
Because it got that fantasy type thing, and just like when, again, I'm going to go pro wrestling, but WCW, WWF, Monday Night Wars. What happened if we put Sting versus The Undertaker? What would happen, right? Same type thing that was cool was like, all right, what if we put this guy versus this guy, and sometimes we got it because at a tournament like June Re, which is an NBL tournament, but a lot of people from the East Coast and from NASCA would go to that event and you would get to see that, And then what was fun about that event was that people that weren't even big national competitors ended up winning it all, beating both NASCA people and NBL people. Like Sean Elliott won that tournament 2 or 3 times, the overall, beating the top NBL guy, beating the top NASCA guy, and he was still just kind of competing regionally, for the most part. So I miss all of that, and so that is a rivalry that we need to have. We've said, I know Joe Greenhouse said we're missing the rivalries. We're also missing that with, we're trying to be so politically correct and like, oh, well, we can't, we don't want to push that my league's better than yours or whatever. Okay, that's fine. But let's push to where, hey, hype your best people up so much that people want to see them go against each other. And right now, we don't actually have a national league right now because NASCA is not really running, right? So what are the leagues that we can do that with? Right now, Pro Max running and USA Sport Karate. So why not take advantage of it while you have it, right?
Yeah.
Push them to the moon right now. And,
That's right.
We can. You're right. We can.
Gang, baby.
And we
so
will.
You know what? So when Joe said, we're missing the rivalries, I think he's absolutely right. We're also missing the personalities, right? So
stars. We got to create stars.
Right. Well, who were some of like the personalities and some of the people that in sport karate history that were like, dude, this dude, whether you liked him or hated him, I'd say probably nasty,
Jerry Fontenez. Manny Reyes Jr. Now, I think Alex Reyes at one point as well.
Sure.
Damon Gilbert, I think.
Yes.
Butch Marks.
Yeah. See, but it doesn't always have to be in a negative way because I was a Butch fan. I liked Butch.
Right. But a lot of some competitors didn't, and some really did. So, but yeah, Billy Blanks was one as well. Rocky says Chris Walker. Hey, yeah.
Okay, but see, even to a degree, Raymond.
Oh, Raymond. Yeah, definitely Raymond.
Because there was a stretch where 2 things were true. Ray was the best fighter in the world, and you could not scuff Raymond's golden balls. Like no one would give you anything close. Like if you got him, they'd be like, didn't see it. Like if he was already that good, then he don't need your help, right?
Right.
So you kind of took it out. It's not his fault, but you kind of got pissed seeing him sometimes. when it wasn't his fault. Obviously, he won.
Yeah.
Right?
We're getting lots of good comments here. We're getting Billy Blanks, Gabriel Naga. I mean, yeah, he hyped the stage up. T. Paul Mitchell, just in general, just
absolutely,
absolutely. I think Metro as well. During their heyday, I think that was everyone knew, just everyone knew about them, and
right. Team Miami Vice.
Yeah,
pretty much anything that had to do with the Reyes.
Right.
And I like them, but they know what they knew what they would do.
The same way, Sherman Oaks, Sherman Oaks Raiders, Team Carl Kanai, there were so many just people that either poked the bear or they did something, to really just get everyone excited, And I think CJB did the same thing as well. I think several teams at the time did that, But as far as some other individual competitors, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot, and I just think that we need to acknowledge that more.
So who are some teams? What are some teams that were like nobody really hated? Everybody just kind of liked them. Was there any? I don't know.
I mean, I think for a while, like it's different. I think that's on everyone's perspective. You know what I mean? Like for me as a junior, all the juniors wanted to be on Team Elite because we were the only team at the time that were really having any juniors really.
Right.
So that was kind of a thing. And I just remember everyone kept trying to be like, oh yeah, we're cheering for Elite just because they really wanted everyone to look at them and put them on the team, And I think Metro was the same thing with juniors,
Oh, for sure.
Because they wanted to get on, like that. So,
Jackson brought up something. Jackson just brought up a really good point about JPM being the rivalry, and one of the reasons why he really loves being on.
And straight up, at one point was like that too. At one point, straight up was the team everyone wanted to be on.
It was two things.
Yeah,
like some people wanted to be on him, and everybody else, hated him.
Yep,
it was like no middle ground. Right?
No, there wasn't.
There was like a few people that would just kind of float in the middle that really didn't care.
Me. Yeah, I like Joe. That's it. So
right. But it's hard. And Joe embraced the I hate you.
Yeah.
I almost feel like that gives him superpower, right?
Oh, big time.
It's like Super Mario stepping on a mushroom when you hate Joe. Like he's like, yes, give me more.
Yeah. I don't know of any teams that were successful that everyone liked. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
If you're successful, you're going to have people gunning for you. So, and that's the way you know what I mean? Now, again, we want it to be, everyone should look up to them. Yeah, but at the same time, look up to them, but also you shouldn't just be staring at them the whole time. You should be trying to take their spot. So,
right.
I mean, that's why it's a rivalry. That's why it's competition. So.
Yeah. I kind of feel like, remember back in the early 2000s, there was Team DS, Daniel Sterling's team. It was just kind of like hey, guys.
Yeah. But they're all good. They're all good. But again,
all of them were good.
All of those teams that had all those teams that started with someone on Paul Mitchell that started their own team, all of that goal was to get their students eventually to Paul Mitchell, which a lot of it worked, right? Matt Imming, did that. Even, like Lauren's team, eventually Jackson got there.
Yep.
Several on, I don't think too many just
good one, Jackson. Nobody
that's a good one.
Infinity, and nobody should.
I agree.
I think Mike Welch might be that that middle ground. I don't know how you hate that guy.
I don't either.
I love that guy.
But
beard. How do you grow such a thick red beard?
That's true. But I mean, those teams that were started, like Imming, and I'm sure there's others, even Valera, those teams all were and did at least at one point put someone up there. Jackson has competitive edge. I'm sure they're planning to eventually get a couple of those guys on Paul Mitchell.
Well, yeah, as long as they keep doing their job, Paul Mitchell will just want them.
Right. So, So yeah, I mean it's just interesting how some of those teams come about. I know we've kind of gone all over the place, but
Yeah, we do that often. I guess maybe another area because we talk about this, but really, I think the areas that people are from, like schools and groups and camps, I think that's a big one too.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah, and again, records and personalities and all that, like it is different, like in the Southeast, like myself, Corky, the Floyds, we have different memories that are big deal and people that don't get maybe the exposure nationally, but maybe do a lot regionally. And they're big time people where we're from, and so it's different, and so I think there's a place for all of that, and I just think we got to all do better at exposing that.
in the end, as far as the records, it's not going to matter unless you won a main gang award.
Oh,
you win a main gang award, now you have made it.
Yeah. So
speak that into existence. I actually believe that's going to be the truth, though. I'm being sincere on that, right? Like because then you're the people's champ. It don't matter what these points say, right?
Right. Well, and that was what was cool about Sport Martial Arts was doing it for a while. Some
and
other
didn't they end up having points after a while?
Huh?
They ended up having a point system too.
Well, they've been back and forth on that. I know they actually had an actual league this year or last year for their virtual league. So they actually had awards just like the NASCA awards. So, I mean, we're in a whole nother realm right now, guys. So give us a couple questions that you'd like to know, maybe just about, what if there's a record or what do we think about certain things? What's going to happen with certain leagues, I know some of the what's going to happen with some of the world leagues this year. We were talking about before, both leagues are having WKU and WKC are having they're going to actually have a worlds, but it'll be in Florida. I'm pretty sure Orlando, and probably both in the same hotel, just different dates and times.
And it's going to be up to like which countries are able to come.
Exactly. And, so interesting to see where that's at,
So on that and the international travel, this just happened today. So I was just talking to a customer today and I just, when I'm busy with something and they're right there, sometimes I'll just ask them something. And if people love to talk about themselves, right? So I say, hey, you going on any vacations? And that just went on. I was like, all right, I didn't know what I was about to step into.
That's
so he's telling me all about this South Africa trip he's going to take. And I'm like, all right, well, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Not what I thought you might say, but go ahead, keep going. And he's talking all about it. So then I kind of broach and I'm like, so are there any kind of like travel complications that are going to be now? You're going South Africa, it's going international, it's this COVID thing. This people are pretty worried about, And he's like, no. Here, let's go online right now. I'm like, go online what? And he goes, oh, I can get a test sent to you that the airlines, maybe people should be looking up this.
Yeah.
Right? A test sent to you that the airlines are going to need you to pass. You can just take it at home, right? And it'll just tell you right there. It's $5, all right? And they'll send it to you in the mail. And then you can like take it, print it out somehow. I'm not sure. Right. Okay. And then you can give it to the airlines and then they'll just know right away you're good to go. I'm like, well, that's kind of cool.
Wow. All right. Interesting. Jackson has a cool one. Highest win percentage all time. He says his bet is Caitlin would have him, but that's an interesting one. Yeah, that's an interesting one as well. Yeah, I mean,
I think Caitlin was like when she was winning. I didn't think I thought she was by far the best when she was competing, but I just feel like those numbers are so inflated because at that time, like it was like right when she started winning them all, like she was the best, right? I mean, Becca Ross was really good, right? And it was like Brecca Ross, what I kind of thought was like the next best, but Caitlin was she was the best, right?
Yeah.
But it was like all of a sudden now all these extra divisions and grands and overalls just became a thing right when she started winning. Like, how come that wasn't a thing
when Casey,
was going, or really anybody else at that point?
Right.
You know, like, yeah.
Right.
You know, she still might have ended up with more overalls than everybody else that they hadn't added all those.
Right.
But it just seems inflated.
Well, that was always my issue
it's not
with
fair that
the
I
US
think of it
Open.
that way. I don't know.
That was always my issue with US Open. It just seemed like they added certain divisions of grands for certain people. Like there was not a traditional weapons overall, you know, like I remember they added a women's traditional weapons overall and didn't have a men's one just for that happened. Yeah. So
who could win?
I mean, I think it was Caitlin, to get another one, but you know, I don't know. I mean, so
we'll just call it how it is. Yeah. So the Caitlin could win. Okay.
I mean, she did. Yeah. I mean, she was great at that. So I don't know. That's an interesting one, Andrew. How about Mark Cannizzaro, probably the most dominant male during his time, numbers wise? I mean, honestly, that he might be true on that part because he was, but he also lasts a little bit longer too, and so it kind of went like this. But consistency wise, he won a lot. You know,
I mean, Andrew's probably right. I can't really remember since he turned adult when he was at a tournament him not being in the finals.
Oh yeah, no, I mean always was.
I think,
and he won a good amount of divisions too. You know, like
right.
So even if he didn't win the grand, he won a bunch.
Yeah.
Well, no, and see that's the thing. I didn't want that to come out that way, there, Drew. I didn't want it to be that. See that Caitlin needed help winning. I'm not saying that she was going to win whatever. Anyway, what I'm saying is just adding a division in the grands that wasn't there, just to feature her even more, which is fine. I mean, I get it. You're doing a TV show, but when in the past it wasn't that way, it was just kind of interesting how that was. So
well, it kind of goes along with what I was just talking about with Ray. Like he didn't need judges. He didn't need your help.
No,
right?
No.
We're already in the fight of our life.
Right.
He don't need your help. You called this square. He already has the advantage. What are you doing giving him help? It's the same thing with Caitlin. She probably doesn't need your help.
No, she doesn't need your help.
Need this extra division to get her a grand. Put them together. She's probably still going to win. Why are you doing that? Just so she'll win a grand? That's stupid. Right. Also not her fault.
No, not at all. So, yeah. Oh, man. All right. Did you have – here, I had a fun one. One of our listeners, Brett Shumway, messaged me. He just kind of asked a good one about forms. And he was saying, was there a form that you did so much that maybe you didn't ever want to do it again? Like you did it so much because you were successful at it, or you were, even your coaches told you, hey, you're winning, so why change it, right?
I know what you're going to say.
And I mean, there's many that are like that for many people. I want to hear some other people. A lot of it is, yes, Andrew, Go Pie Show. Yep, I think that's one for a lot of people. Yep.
I know what it is for you. I know what you're going to say.
I have several, but yeah.
Gabe
Beck is one that everyone else, but I didn't do it that much. But I don't.
I feel like you didn't do it that much because you were tired of seeing it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not like you didn't do it all the time.
No, you're right. I got tired of seeing it, and I don't teach my students it.
Stop.
No, I don't teach
them that form.
No, I teach them other Korean style, other Taekwondo forms.
Stop with that. You do have to teach them that form.
Why?
You do a Korean style because it's that kind of form. It's Gabe Beck.
Says who? I mean, there's a lot of other forms. All right, that you
join
can
in with me, Korean style martial artists. Come on now.
Hey, I get it, but you don't have to do it. I'll teach it to them eventually. But you know what? Like, I don't need them going and competing with that when everyone else
That's
is.
the point. The point is, how can you not teach them like the most practiced and performed Korean form
But
ever?
again, like, I don't only do Taekwondo, is what, you know what I mean? So I do Shotokan as well. So it's, you know, and I mean, for a time for me, it was Konku Dai for a while as well. I kind of stopped, but I never did the same form that much until recently. And now it's kind of OG with me now. It's like, I don't want to do it.
Okay,
anymore.
I can see that.
Yeah. I don't want to do it anymore.
I think
now, does it mean I won't? No, but I don't really want to. That's why I've been doing so many other ones.
Yeah.
And even that's even one too, where sometimes I don't want to teach everyone in my school it because then everyone just thinks they're just carbon copies. You know what I mean? So
I can see that.
So I mean, I think that's the issue with Gay Beck. But though it's interesting, I feel like we are one of the only sports where you could say that, like, where you could do the same thing for 7-8 years and win. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, or 10. You know, I mean, I love Gabe Bernaga, but he ain't doing no other form than go to Shio. You know, Casey did Unsu for a really long time.
So did John Su.
You know, now all of them had other forms in there. You know, you have several Korean stylists that only do Gay Beck. You know, great ones like Dan Marshall and Edgar Cordova and so many. But yeah, and again, yeah, I think Gay Beck was the go-to Korean form for all karate guys. You know?
Oh, absolutely. Because everybody who did a Korean style knows Gay Beck, unless you're one of Jeff's students.
No, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. It's not doing the Korean style.
I'm just playing with you.
Karate guys that try to do Taekwondo do Gay Beck. Everyone's kind of been through that, you know, and that's the truth because that was the form they saw the most. So
yeah,
or choreo, right? So, but yeah, I mean, I just think that there's so many. I mean, I'd love to hear some other ones that people think. You know, for me, I always wanted to do a form that no one did. So so I always did like Ninja Shiho, which no one really did.
I don't know what that is.
It's a Shotokan form, and I've only seen a few people do it in sport karate. But I did it so much that I kind of got tired of it. I took a break and came back.
Did you know that form I wanted to see? I kind of wanted to see you do it. Was that Moon Moo?
Yeah, I know.
At that thing, dude, straight up, in all sincerity, I couldn't have pulled it off.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
I would have had fun like practicing it and training it, but no.
The problem is like I can do the difficult parts, but the thing is like keeping it consistent the whole way through because it's a really long form, and people don't really understand that. You know, it's a 2.5 minute long form, but you're doing leg holds and jump spin kicks, twist kicks, side. I mean, everything, and even the punches and stuff are really strong and powerful as well too. So you have a lot of stuff. Yeah, I want to do. I can do Moon Moo. I've done it twice in competition. I've never done Juche. Juche would be great. Nick Kane did it. His dad, Mr. Kane, Ron Kane, used to compete with it up north, and everyone just talks about how legendary that was. So we'd love to see that. Yeah, in the 90s, everyone was doing Go to Shio Show or Konku Dai or Impi. Yeah, Go to Shio kind of got that way for me, so I wanted to go away from that. It was just one of those things. Some people follow what everyone's doing. Some people go the opposite way. For me,
I went the opposite way.
I don't want to see anymore. If anyone, you know, and I can't even
say a couple times. I watched really a few John Chung videos, and I was thinking, I'm like, I need to find a different Korean form that I can get excited about. All right. And I'm like, I don't want to see choreo anymore. All right. And I don't want to do Gay Beck anymore. So what is it? And then I competed with it a few times, and I honestly think I don't think the judges knew what it was local. Okay. I'm like, I don't think they know what this is and understand. And I did Kwangdae.
Yeah.
All right. And it's a different type of form. It's interesting.
Yeah, I like that form. Well,
if you don't know it looks like you're making mistakes. Right.
Right.
So
but there's a lot of cool stuff in that form.
A lot of fun
there,
stuff.
Yeah. Even also for me too, one of the forms as far as creative, I got tired of doing intergalactic. So
Dude, that was so dope.
So I stopped doing it for 8 years. Then I brought it back. Then I got tired of it again. And then I just kind of would mix my music where I would do something else. And then I would have like a pause and I would go to intergalactic just to give everyone this and then go back to the rest of my form. Just to kind of.
So along that, here's one that I wanted to ask you, and we'll just kind of touch on it quick. Yeah. What are some of the most like iconic like musical forms, like this music, right?
Yeah.
Just super cool.
Like as the music was cool, or like it goes like when you hear the music, you think of that form.
But it's got to be cool.
What do you mean cool? Like
it's got to be a good form. It's got to be something that you're like.
Oh yeah.
I'm not talking about like Jungle Love from.
Well, that's different. That was the intro, but I get what you're saying. For me, it's Close to You. The Carmichael. Oh baby, talk to me.
I know what it is. Yeah.
That. Mortal Kombat was so 1994, but to me, Carmichael did it the best of anybody. That's a great one, Drew. Charlie's Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
I like how Mike Chatt and John Valera redid that in a team form too. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was a nice little tribute.
I think Big in Japan.
Big in Japan, Steve Terada.
Yeah.
How about what is it? Buju Banton?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Or Cuddy Ranks.
Right.
Both Butch and David Douglas.
It is
so
those
cool.
styles.
Like,
they were
hear
cool.
The song, nothing about it makes you think like, oh, this would be great for a musical form. Right?
Zombie Valero, to me, that was one of my favorites. That was my favorite form he ever did. And it wasn't even really his most successful, but the music in that was so sick. Yeah.
It was it happened at a perfect time. It happened. That was a remix song that he used right when that song was popular.
Yep.
Right. Cool. And he had the long, wet, slicked hair.
Yep.
Everything came together.
And see, for me, a lot of people like the Buju Banton and the Cuddy Ranks, but I liked when Butch did Noriega,
of course.
Yeah, that too.
Manuel Noriega?
Yeah, it was great. That's right. It was great. It was great. So lots of good stuff, man. Lots of great things. I mean, and there's some we're probably missing. Of
course.
Honestly, I some people may not like it, but when I think of Grease Lightning, I think of Jimmy Fallon.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. So
I loved the form, hated the song.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, but even before that, when Great Balls of Fire, I thought of him, and also Kim Do did it as well. And when you think of Staying Alive, the dun, John Fournette, there's so many.
Yeah.
But I think people think of that when they're intergalactic too. So, but
who was it that did reggae music? Yeah. Well, it was Butch Marks and it was David Douglas. There's a few other people that have done it,
Yeah. But in that 2000s, everyone was doing stuff, man. All of us were just having fun.
Can we be happy that we're out of the happy hardcore phase? You remember those couple years where people did happy hardcore techno?
Yeah.
That was dreadful.
Yeah.
Dreadful.
Yeah, Marcel and Calvin, that was great. Yeah, and even Matt and Daniel Sterling with the why can't I think of it right now? This or that. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I think
there's so many great ones, man. Yeah, I mean, so lots of cool stuff. I think some people, it all depends on the era. You know what I mean? For when I hear Guns N' Roses, Welcome to the Jungle, I think of Seneca Luther. But a lot of people in the NBL think of Jordan Simon. Jordan Simon did that for like 5 or 6 years, and that became like his thing, and he won a lot of titles doing that. Black Sheep. There we go, Andrew. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, musical forms, man. I think that's something that people have tried to just mix it so much that it's hard to, and that's something that I like that Jackson does. He plays almost an original song pretty much and plays it through. So it's really cool. Yeah, that was it as well. Yeah, Ho Sung. And then Ho Young with the I Need a Hero. That was good too. See, there was so many good stuff in the late 80s, early 90s, man.
They need to give fighters intro music.
Yes.
When they go out for at least the final fight, give them the final fight. Right? What are they going to be? They're going to be out there for what?
Right.
10 seconds. They're going to play that song.
Right.
Maybe 15 to 20. Let them do it. You know what I mean? You're calling their name.
Fun.
Let the music play. That would be cool.
That would be. All right. So
what would you play for your fight song? You're coming out. What would you play?
It's a tough one. I thought I had this planned, but you got a choice? You got an answer already?
For me?
Yeah. See, I don't know, man.
Billie Jean.
Oh my God. Really?
Yeah, I might do that. And moonwalk out there.
Oh my gosh.
That could be good.
All right. Well, see, I used to think of that as my intro. I used to think of like when I did my intro music, that was like a walk-in music, like if you are,
going out to a fight.
Going out to a fight. And then you do your, that's what was always different.
Well, we're going to get rid of intros. There isn't going to be any.
Right, exactly. So I don't know.
Intros are going to be gone.
I'm just playing some music while walking around the ring and then do my form. So
by the end of 2021, there will be no intros.
I think so. That's fine.
No, we'll be done with intros by the end of 2021. I'm speaking it into existence.
Listen, Alex, I can still play music for 30 seconds before I do my form. Ooh. So, I mean, that's what people would do. So just to pose or whatever it is, just to get people going. Because you do need something to get everyone's attention, right? So I don't know.
Yell really loud.
Right.
Isn't that like what John?
You still have to walk into the ring. So you still have to walk into the ring. So no matter how long you take it, you can have your time. I think in traditional forms, it definitely needs to be gotten rid of. I think
yes,
probably in open as well. I don't see that it's a huge deal of saying what you're doing, but I mean at least say the name of your form. For open, there's not really a name of your form, so but there is a thing of there's still strategy and how to get people involved in what you're doing, right? So I think again, creative people will find ways to get through it. So, what do you guys think? Yeah, I don't like that either, Andrew. Sitting down, saying it all in Japanese in the kneeling position. No, we're good.
Well, but also just like I don't like sitting there, watching you just stand in the back of the ring for 30 seconds, fix your uniform.
No, I don't like that either. No, I know.
Go like this with your hand, chop to one side, chop to the other side. You're still just standing there. You're not doing anything.
Right.
We're bored. You're not exciting.
Some people. I mean, I think some of it is building the anticipation to go, So
they called your name. I'm anticipating to see what you want to do.
I don't think so. Exactly, Drew. I think the same. I like the intro because it sets the tone of my form. I think it works for everybody, So
I know. I'm just probably being an old grumpy guy.
Yeah, you've become that guy. So.
I'm good at that. When you have something that I think I'm finally aging into my personality.
All right, guys. So again, make sure you guys check out VFT. We are sponsored by VFT. VFT 8, May 29th. We are coming up. It's coming up fast. Going to be lots of fun. We got East Coast and West Coast. We got fighters from all over. It's going to be great. We got new school versus old school. We got all kinds of excitement. So looking forward to what's going on. And we also got the forms draft. We got the fighting, the junior draft. We got lots of kids, You're
involved in the forms draft a little bit, right? Are you involved in the forms draft at all? Oh, you don't know yet.
We're working on it. So
okay.
Jesse and I are going to be talking soon about what all everyone's going to be doing. I think he's going to be working on some meetings and stuff. So
that's
pretty exciting. Pretty exciting.
This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys next week, and check out the pod.